Don in London. Hello. My videos all about recovery from addiction to substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour equally addictive towards people, places, things, collecting, trying to be perfect and never so, and trying to fit in with life, fit in or try and control it, not sure which. But it was a mess, and what did I do to try and alleviate my problems? I guess I used drink, alcohol, as the way to get out of myself, to escape from reality. And what I discovered after a while, alcohol ruled me rather than me being in control of alcohol. And this happens to some of us, because that is just the way life is. Some of us have a malady, and that is the ism of addiction. So alcoholism, now in recovery one day at a time. November 19th. November's going very quickly for me. Here I share information about how recovery can work one day at a time and what helped me. And what was it? Well, it wasn't me so much as Providence, really, being involved or getting involved in a fellowship called Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't speak for it, never can, never will. It's full of unique, authentic people who speak for themselves where they will. And that's important, because in fellowship, meetings, seeing people face to face is so critical, so that we can share experience, strength and hope on a daily basis, or whenever we can get to meetings. And part of the reason why I do these videos, sometimes meetings are not available or we're too far away from them. So just one voice of many, and it's the many voices which count, because we get to lean on fellowship rather than one person. One of the things I learned in recovery is if we try and lean on one person too much, then we find ourselves over-reliant on one person trying to help us, and that's a very unhealthy relationship. So fellowship works because it's unity, service and recovery for me. And I share about how AA is and helps me through the literature, and just explaining what it is from this little card here, available at all meetings who may have enough money to buy literature. And these are straitened times, so some meetings have no literature or very little. Hence I do these videos just to share a little bit about AA and what's working for me today. So what is AA? Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. This is why I do these videos. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. Does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And I just looked at that. It was brought, this particular version of the fellowship preamble came out in 1947, and there are other versions, and there are other versions of recovery too. So if you don't like AA, there's something out there for you somewhere. But I've found that AA is my primary source of experience, strength and hope to keep sober one day at a time. And here I share from this book, The Daily Reflections, what it covers. It covers the 12 steps of the action for individuals and the 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together around unity, service and recovery. So the 12 steps to be open, honest and willing to change on a daily basis, to meet life on life's terms rather than the terms that we would like. So living reality rather than fantasy. And the daily reflection for today is all about reality, to an extent, and prayer and meditation. November 19th. The whole month is devoted to prayer and meditation in this book, Daily Reflections. And it says, I was slipping fast. We AAs are active folk, enjoying the satisfactions of dealing with the realities of life, not the fantasies. So it isn't surprising that we often tend to slight serious meditation and prayer as something not really necessary, and that happens when we're feeling happy. We don't need to bother. everything's all right, so I don't need to do that anymore. I've learned differently. Goes on to say, I had been slipping away from the program for some time, but it took a death threat from a terminal disease to bring me back, and particularly to the practice of the 11th step, prayer meditation, of our blessed fellowship. Although I had 15 years of sobriety and was still very active in the program, I knew that the quality of my sobriety had slipped badly, and we know this when we're not really in touch with what's going on. 18 months later, a checkup revealed a malignant tumour and a prognosis of certain death within 6 months. Despair settled in when I enrolled in a rehab program, after which I suffered 2 small strokes which revealed 2 large brain tumours. I mean, this chap got it bad. As I kept hitting new bottoms, I had to ask myself, why was this happening to me? The simple answer is, we still get all the ailments. You know, there's no sort of shield from medical conditions or anything else. Why was this happening to me? God allowed me to recognize my dishonesty and to become teachable again. In other words, humility. Humility is the ability to keep on learning through adversity and through happy times. Miracles began to happen, but primarily I relearned the whole meaning of the 11th step. My physical condition has improved dramatically, but my illness is minor compared to what I almost lost completely, which is emotional and spiritual well-being. So no matter what happens to us in recovery, and we are going to face hardship, tragedy, joyfulness, all of what life has to offer. And in my case, I got type 1 diabetes from a virus, and I got properly diagnosed with clinical depression. So what works for me, emotional and spiritual, is fellowship, being open, honest and willing to change with humility, and take advice where I need it from medical professionals about how to keep as well as I can and on the same playing field as everybody else, which is emotional, spiritual and realistic about life. What helps me? The simple prayer and meditation, which works in the moment, any time of day, and often makes me ask for help rather than try and struggle on my own, is the serenity prayer. And I'll finish on that. And it goes like this: to God or good conscience, depending on your belief system, which is unique and authentic to you, always, prayer meditation can work. So, to God or good conscience, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference is just for today. DonInLondon, hello, November 19th, 2009. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, workaholic, relationshipaholic, any old ism, to fill the gap inside. And I didn't even know I had a gap at the beginning of all of this. But what did alcohol actually do in the beginning? Well, it gave me conviviality, joyfulness, sleepiness, relaxed feelings, and really took the edge off me. And the gift of that was that life felt better. And I guess I might have been an anxious kid, full of fear, not quite sure where I fitted in, never quite sure whether life was okay, always looking out for the dangers in life, or what maybe, I don't know what it was, but there was always a feeling of danger, and I thought I saw things that other people didn't, which were dangerous. So alcohol gave me it took the weight off my shoulders, actually, and from that first drink, taking the edge off seemed like a good idea, and all around me, people always took the edge off with a drink. So I was in good company, and I joined in merrily. And it was only decades later I realised, not only had I taken the edge off me, but I'd become dependent and then addicted to a substance which had me in the grip, and it was killing me. And I didn't realise just how bad it was until I was in the addiction itself. and that's the gift of ignorance, because I was in the company of people who drank just like me, or at least I thought they did. As you can hear, there's bottles being thrown into a great big bin outside a restaurant where I live, and I hear that at least 2 or 3 times a day, an absolutely great big skipful. But it could have been my waste bin, actually, sometimes, throwing out that many bottles, I feel. So the gift today is I don't drink one day at a time, and that gift means that I get my life back, and my life continues to grow incrementally one day at a time. Or it just stays in a place where I can understand the balance of the good and the bad of life and what it offers. So I feel in a safe place, and part of what makes me feel safe is being in a fellowship where it's okay to be sober and it's okay not to be drinking, so that I learn how not to drink in society, community and family, and feel secure in my own skin, comfortable. So that fellowship which has helped me along the way is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, full of unique, authentic people. So I never speak for the fellowship or people in the fellowship. I never do that. I just speak about my experience, strength and hope of how it helps me. And I share literature and the AA statement of intent, which keeps it very narrowly focused on fellowship and a desire not to drink. So here is the AA statement of intent. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is the desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. It's totally free. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. Wouldn't mind if, we all give a little bit if we can. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And alcoholics come from every strata or level of society as it's organised, from the fabulously rich to the fabulously poor, and somewhere in between are we all. And at the extremes it's hard. Whether you're rich or poor, it's very, very hard. The extremes of life, and that's where alcohol takes us, to the extremes of feelings of fear, putting on a brave face and ego in my case, and having little or no courage, faith or confidence to face what's going on around me. But by going to meetings daily, and I went to one last night which was great, and it's normally about 20 or 30 people, but it seemed to be about double that size last night, and a great share from somebody who's been sober 20 years and more, and it was good to hear them. I can't share explicitly, but I can share the impact it had on me. It made me want to keep on coming back. Not only them, but the newcomer in the room with less than 24 hours sober, who contributes equally to the person who's got 20 years by their presence and by their story and by their experience, strength and hope. So we're all in the one moment, the same day, just for today. Aren't we lucky? And the Daily Reflections reading today, which this book covers the 12 steps of action for individuals and something about the 12 traditions which hold the fellowship together. So November is about step 11, prayer and meditation. And it says here, I was slipping fast for November 19th. We AAs are active folk, enjoying the satisfactions of dealing with the realities of life. So it isn't surprising that we often tend to slight serious meditation and prayer as something not really necessary, so we can forget it. I had been slipping away from the programme for some time, but it took a death threat from a terminal disease to bring me back, and particularly to the practice of the 11th step of our blessed fellowship. Although I had 15 years of sobriety and was still very active in the programme, I knew that the quality of my sobriety had slipped badly. 18 months later, a checkup revealed a malignant tumour and a prognosis of certain death within 6 months. Despair settled in when I enrolled in a rehab programme, after which I suffered 2 small strokes, which revealed 2 large brain tumours, as I kept hitting new bottoms, that's rock bottoms. I had to ask myself, why was this happening to me? God allowed me to recognize my dishonesty and to become teachable again. Miracles began to happen, but primarily I relearned the whole meaning of the 11th step about prayer and meditation. My physical condition has improved dramatically, but my illness is minor compared to what I almost lost completely. And the thing which would have been lost completely was serenity because of sobriety. And, this person is lucky inasmuch as their diagnosis was caught in time, but often, as we find in fellowship, people don't get their prognosis till it's too late. But that doesn't mean they go out and drink and fall about and crash and lose their sobriety or their serenity. They face reality. And somebody who has got a condition which nearly killed them, that's type 1 diabetes. It was not diagnosed for a long time properly, and I was facing death. I was suffering from malnutrition. And one thing I didn't fear somehow was when it was diagnosed that I didn't know beforehand, and I wasn't quite right, but afterwards when I was diagnosed and I kept on track and didn't have a calamity which was going to knock me off into a place of dependence back on booze, I was extraordinarily grateful, because the way I used to handle everything, sorry, I'm just checking the time, the way I used to handle everything was to take the edge off with a drink. So serenity does work, and in fellowship we face reality, that is the ups and downs of life, the health, the good health and the bad health or poor health. And when we're up against it, we don't necessarily think, well, a drink would actually put this right and make me feel better. And the actual truth is, we learn that drink will never make things better. It may give us oblivion from the fear or the anger or the rage. But if we're in a spiritual condition which says, let's look at life with a bit of courage, faith and confidence that we can just do the next right thing, there is no recourse to alcohol, because it won't make it better, nor no drug. Might take the pain away if that's what we need, but that's under medical supervision. So we learn to live life with what is. So I haven't got time for the as-Bill sees it today, but between last night and hearing somebody say, even at 20 years I still feel I need to isolate and do all these things which can bring me back to a drink, and as it said in there, 18 years sober, not on programme, and then getting back on programme. That's the gift of sobriety and the fellowship. We need never go back. So the serenity prayer to acceptance, which I share at the end of these videos, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, for me, is always just for today.